Human nature is truly a complex entity, made up of elements that are not easily changed. It is formed from natural factors and the culture in which we live. However, in the journey of seeking change, one essential thing is the connection with a divine entity. As God has taught, change is not just about adjusting external actions, but about a profound transformation from within the soul. It signifies a struggle within your own heart, and only those who have reached the level of spiritual connection can embrace the entire universe. Perhaps you have experienced a moment in life when you stood at a crossroads, faced with a decision that would bring about a great change, one you could not explain with reason. That was the moment you felt the presence of the Almighty in your life. God is not only the one who gives you this life, but also the one who watches over every step you take, so you come to realize that every action, every thought, holds value not just in this world, but also in eternity. God knows that, no matter how strong we are, we cannot overcome external forces and the limitations of ourselves alone. That is why He has sent teachings and guidance, not only to save us, but to help us realize that everything you do, every effort you make in this life, is not just for the present life, but is also preparation for an eternal one. Surely you have heard stories of people who once went astray, who walked down a dark path, but when they turned to God, they were saved. Their mistakes, no matter how severe, could not prevent them from finding the light. For in the mystery of God, nothing is impossible. Everyone can find liberation from the past, from pain, and walk the path that leads to the absolute truth that only God can provide. In that moment, you will realize that there is no promised land far away, but it is right in your heart, in the choices you make, in the way you perceive the world around you. It is a journey that each of us must go through, a journey of self-discovery and self-liberation. And when you reach the end of the road, you will realize that you are no longer the person you once were, but have become a new person, a person accepted and guided by the divine. The connection between humans and the higher being is not something that comes naturally. It is a long process that requires training and patience. Therefore, every individual must strive relentlessly to find a way to connect with God, for He is not only the source of the universe, but also the light that guides us through difficult moments in life. However, what is important is that this connection does not come merely through prayer, but through your actions and profound changes in your soul. First, you need to learn how to listen. In the modern world, we have many things to pay attention to, many things to focus on, but if you do not stop to listen to the calls from your heart, you will not be able to recognize the guidance of God. Listening is not just silence in the body, but tranquility in the soul, so that you can feel the divine presence and the peace that God brings. Once you learn to listen, you will understand that this connection is not always obvious, but it always exists in the silent moments. Next is perseverance. God will never abandon you, but He will not force you either. You must find the path on your own. This process can be full of challenges and hardships. At times you may feel tired or feel as though you are standing before a foggy path. But it is precisely in these moments, when you do not give up and continue walking in faith, that you are truly honing your ability to connect with God. You will gradually realize that each challenge in life is an opportunity to draw closer to Him, to clarify the things you truly need to learn. Training is not just about patience or listening, but also about the transformation within each person. God does not just want you to pray. He wants you to live by the principles He has taught. Values such as compassion, humility, and love are not just empty words. They are actions you carry out in every day of your life. And when you truly understand that the change within you is a part of the divine connection, you will begin to realize that your actions not only bring benefits to yourself, but also serve as a way to express God's love for this world. Another important thing is forgiveness. Have you ever wondered why in every prayer, God reminds us about forgiveness? Because forgiveness is the key to freeing yourself from past pain and hatred. and to opening your heart to receive the goodness from the higher being. Forgiveness is not about forgetting, but about letting go of the burdens you carry so that your soul can be light and at peace. When you begin to cultivate these things, you will find that the connection between you and God is no longer something vague, but has become a part of your life. Whether you walk in darkness or in light, you will know that He is always by your side, always showing you the right path. It is an unbreakable connection because it is built on the foundation of love, forgiveness, and absolute trust. And as this process of training gradually becomes a habit, you will realize that you are no longer just a simple human being. You have become part of something greater, a part of the grand plan that God has laid out from the beginning. You will no longer live for yourself, but live for the divine values you have connected with, for the good things you can bring to the world. When you truly connect with the higher being, you will realize that the liberation you seek is not an external change, but a profound transformation from within. It is a journey from the deepest layers of your soul, a process where you begin to free yourself from burdens, anxieties, and the constraints of material life. Connecting with God not only brings peace, but is also the key to liberating yourself from the things that have hindered your growth and happiness. Liberation from fear and anxiety. One of the first things that the connection with the higher being brings to you is the ability to free yourself from fear and anxiety. In the modern world, we are often caught up in worries about work, finances, and the future. But when you find your connection with God, you will understand that there are things beyond your control, and you do not need to carry all of them. God will show you how to let go of the things that do not belong to you so you can live in freedom and peace. In fact, when you entrust your worries to Him, you will feel a wonderful sense of liberation, for you no longer have to carry burdens that cannot be sustained forever. Liberation from emotional wounds. Each of us carries emotional wounds from the past memories of broken relationships, failures, and hurts that we cannot easily forget. But when you connect with the higher being, you begin to realize that you are not defined by what has happened to you. God does not see you as a person full of flaws, but He sees you through the light of unconditional love. When you open your heart to receive forgiveness from Him, you will be able to forgive yourself and others. It is this forgiveness that will help you liberate yourself from emotional wounds so that you can continue living freely and strongly. Liberation from self-limiting beliefs. We are often limited by the narrow beliefs we have formed throughout our lives, beliefs about our own abilities, about what we can achieve, and about what we think we deserve. But when you connect with the higher being, you will realize that you are not the limitations you have set for yourself. God not only teaches you how to overcome those limitations, but also shows you that you can reach for greater things, breaking through the walls you have built in your mind. Your connection with Him opens the door to see the limitless potential within yourself. Liberation from loneliness and the lack of love. In a world where people sometimes feel lost, connecting with the higher being gives you a sense of completeness and fulfillment. God is not only the one who gives you love, but He is the source of all love. When you truly understand that you are unconditionally loved by Him, you will no longer feel a lack of love or loneliness. You will know that you always have a divine presence beside you, a love that nothing can replace. This connection helps you overcome feelings of loneliness so that you can love yourself and others more deeply. Liberation from judgment and criticism from others. When you connect with the higher being, you will gradually realize that the judgments and criticisms of others no longer have a major impact on you. You do not have to live to please others, nor do you have to follow the standards set by society. The acceptance of God is all you need. When you understand that you are valuable in His eyes, you will be free to live authentically, without being bound by the expectations of others. This is true liberation when you no longer have to carry the fear of being judged or not being accepted. liberation from regret and fear of the future. Once you find your connection with the higher being, you will understand that life does not always go according to the plan you have laid out. Instead of living in regret over what has passed or worrying about the future, you will learn to live fully in the present. You will no longer fear what has not yet come, but instead, you will feel peace and trust in the wonderful plan that God has prepared for you. This connection helps you break free from feelings of insecurity, replacing them with strong hope that everything will be all right if you live true to your heart. When you begin to free yourself from these things, you will feel a sense of freedom, lightness, and tranquility in your soul. And that is when you realize that the connection with the higher being not only helps you overcome difficulties in life, but also opens the door to a life of happiness, peace, and fulfillment. This is the liberation you have always sought, and only when you truly connect with God can you understand its profound meaning.